Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody inside and outside the ballpark. My name is NovedPlayer, and welcome to episode 55 of the Noved Knows podcast, where we talk to many different creators and communities inside of the platform. I'm your host, and with me today, I have the leader of the White Tower Hall community, as well as a world creator as well. We have IkebaVT. Ikeba, welcome to the podcast. Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well. I just clearly got up and had some chicken patties before getting on, so I'm doing okay.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So for the general listening audience, what exactly do you do inside of VRChat?
Uh, what I do in VRChat is just with my VRChat community besides my VTubing stuff. We do events where we go to like old worlds in VRChat, reminisce on the old days, have a good time, and make some like good memories, and do things where we go to karaoke worlds. Just a lot of things. Just keeping the old days alive and making new friends, and doing a lot of other events. It's very good. But go ahead.
No, yeah, I was gonna say because with White Tower Hall, I guess kind of explain like what exactly is White Tower Hall, when it like in general, I guess would be a good way to phrase it.
Oh, with the name came from like one of the old hub worlds, like the one people use in around 2018. It's used around 2017. And if you guys want to see, Nova can put in the video of the picture of it. Very nice world, a lot of memories, and I love it. And it's just there's so many memories there when growing up. It actually even talk about it, I was kind of start crying about it. It's like I've made like a lot of friends on here, and if I still saw them, even in the YouTube comments, I would literally give them a bear hug. But it's basically with the name though, getting to the point. Because in the middle of that world, me and my friend Hero 17 were trying to find the name of that tower in the middle of the map, and it was called White Tower Hall. And I made my VRChat group that name, and it's been working ever since, and I really love it. And it's been doing very well, even after our big achievement in the New Year's world from last year, and that's where I met you from. And honestly, that was the most beautiful thing I've ever done in my life with the group, because no other OG VRChat group has never gone into a New Year's world. And I wanted to prove people wrong on that, and I proved them wrong. And it was a lot of good time on that day, and a lot of drinking. Not a lot for me. I only had like one Mike's Hard Lemonade that was blueberry flavor, but besides that, it was really good. But that's the best way I can describe it.
No, fair enough. I mean, realistically, like New Year's being one of the best things that it can happen when it comes to like promotion. Is VRChat approving you for whether it's a poster or a video or logo, whatever the case may be. Um, I mean, it's definitely a really cool thing in that regard. But yeah, I guess kind of to go back in time a little bit. So, what got you started into VRChat in the first place?
Oh, um, that it was like, oh dear, but I don't mind talking about it. Around in 2017 when I was in high school, one of my senior high school friends showed me a video, and this name is gonna sound like a name out of the ballpark, but the name from the YouTube channel I watched was Nags21, known as Joey Bagels. And when watching one of the videos was the Mario Kart one, and when watching them and watching even more of the videos, I said to myself, I want to get a PC and be able to play the game. And around in 2018, got one, even though it's one of those old, really crappy Dell towers, like the ones that would have the CD thing popping out and whatever. I
Yep.
played on that on VRChat, and I don't know how the F I managed to play VRChat on that, but I did. And then later on, after that, my IRL dad gave me one of his PC towers where I was able to play Overwatch a little bit, including VRChat and whatever else. And it took me time until I got a better mic because I had a Razer mic that didn't work because it was broken. And there's just so much going into, but I met a lot of people. Like one friend that made the Foxy Kami intro and outro videos, like well music. And when you go back and listen to those Foxy Kami videos and listen to the intro and outro, the song names are Wine, and then the ending song's called Red Wine. And it's just, I wish I could talk to the dude again. I love the music, and it just shows how much people I met in this game, and with the amount of people I've met in this game and befriended and whatever else. I really hope to just see their faces again, or just keep making new friends, because sometimes people come and go.
No,
Jeez, I
absolutely.
sound like a broken record.
No, you're good. No, it's all good. It just means you're passionate about what you feel, and that's what's up. So that's cool that you've been around since that era. So I guess kind of one of the things I wanted to ask in that regard, um, what was one moment from back in that era that really holds a fond place in your heart? Like, what was a moment that essentially you won't get rid of, no matter what the case may be?
Oh, probably the fondest memory was probably when what was her name? Even though there was like a lot of VRChat streamers and other people helping this girl out because she had cancer. Her name was Tessa, and she was such a sweetheart. And just seeing how many VRChat streamers and other people were coming around to help her out and help her out through the cancer. Because I have some friends, even in my staff team in White Tower Hall, that were part of that, and it literally puts a like big heart gape hole in my heart to see that. And Tessa doesn't get on anymore. She was such a sweetheart, and I miss her. Like everyone like protected her. There was just a
Hmm.
lot of that's like the fondest memory I can keep, because not only that I got to see some of my friends and other people help out someone that was having cancer, but seeing like almost like the whole VR chat community coming together as a whole and to help someone out was the most sweetest thing I've ever seen in my life. That's the best memory I will keep on holding on to. Granted, there are some others, but that's most one that will stand out to the rest for me.
Oh, fair enough. No, absolutely. Well, that's really wholesome. Well, that's what's up. So I guess I gotta ask in that regard then. Because obviously, with you and what you do, with White Tower Hall and in general, as you stated, you kind of keep, the aesthetic from that 2015 to 2018 era. Um, so I guess one of the questions I wanted to ask, because you actually started making worlds that are essentially remasters of like those eras, like you have the presentation room and a few others as well. So what kind of got you into like world building and trying to remaster, these old worlds?
That's an interesting tale. Around in 2018 or 2019 when I decided to start working on Worlds, and I was like around 16 or 17 years old when I started doing it. And then when I uploaded my first world, which was Never Have I Ever, like my own like original creation with the Unity train and whatever. And I saw someone was in it when it was published, and I decided to go in there because this is before we had community labs and whatever. So as I went in there, VR Pill was in there, and that's like basically one of the developers of VRChat. And he gave me some pointers of like what shaders to use and not to use. He didn't do world building much, but just seeing that he at least let me know, and he was there checking out and make sure everything checked out, it put a smile on my face, and I really do thank VR Bill because he's the biggest inspiration I've found to do world building. And the other reason why I do remake some of the other worlds because some of them are still around but they're broken, including like with Open Mic Night, even though it's kind of like working still, but like I want to say like when you go in there, even on VR or desktop, it's just hard to hear everyone. So I'm like, okay, I want to remake this one, and then just there's so many out there that are like still working or they're just broken or unlisted. It's just working really hard to at least get some of these things done and fixed and back out there. Because one, it means the old player base can like have fun and make good memories again. And then the new player base, which is the now and whoever, depending on how they treat it, they would treat it differently. It's just like basically two audience you gotta appease. The old ones, which will love it, and then the new ones that would go, what is this? But like just try and mash those two together so they at least understand how things were back then. It just makes a lot more good memories. And I wouldn't want to miss it because like geez, like there was like one time in my Rock and Ball remaster world, it's still a work in progress. So many old users in there were having such a good time, even though it was so buggy. They were like, dude, you should keep updating this. I'm like, that's what I'm planning on doing. I'm just trying to get the right layout and textures right. So at least feels like it. It's gotta be hard to get it to look closely like the original. Because you gotta deal with coding and so much utter BS. It's not even funny.
For sure. No, absolutely. I guess kind of to go into that, because you made a few of them, but you got like Presentation Room, Rock and Ball. You also did Werewolf Remaster. So I guess kind of to, you know, think about the future in some regard when it comes to like making these remasters. Is there a world in particular that you would want to remaster that, may not be around anymore or maybe needs a good fixing to say the least? I guess what is your dream world that
Uh,
you want to remaster essentially?
um, I think the only one would be out the other ones I've been working on. Would be the Open Mic Night one with a mix with the Rock and Ball one. Since people do want to see those one. Well, some people or a lot of people, even like content creators, you might have want to see the Rock and Ball world come back. And with Open Mic Night, it's okay. Let's say like this is my left hand for Rock and Ball. This is how many people want it to come back fixed. Then on the right, this is how much they want Open Mic Night to come out and be fixed. So you can see how close the margin is with my hands, how much they want it back. And this has been like in like private talks or public talks with them. So yeah, that's I had the dream with it. It just again takes a lot of time to get them like done and publish out. Just like you gotta like test the absolute Lordy Pride album.
No,
But
fair
that's
enough.
mostly it. What I can say on that.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, that's cool. I always admire the old aesthetics when it comes to that because obviously it was a different era, right? Now we have all these different shaders, all these different, you know, materials we can work with. We have asset packs and whatnot that come out almost on a daily basis at this point. Um, it's kind of cool that you're wanting to create this nostalgia of bringing these old things back. I think probably one of the oldest ones that I know still holds up to this day is Treehouse in the Shade. Um, it's probably one of the ones that to this day, because I was back. I mean, we talked about this on a couple episodes ago, um, but it's crazy how well that world holds up to this day because it's getting updated properly, and VRChat still to this day uses it as their like main logo page on their website. You know, it's kind of crazy that some creators want to keep that keep their worlds up and running, but it also helps when if the worlds are decrepit or decrepit, that's not the word I'm looking for, when they essentially become broken, people are wanting to recreate it so that way the legacy lives on. Was the point I was trying to make there. um but yeah, that's what's up. So I guess kind of to go into that a little bit. Um so obviously, a lot of players aren't from that era. It was a lot smaller number of players. So I guess kind of to explain some of the remasters you made, for the general listening audience. So I guess we could start with like, Presentation Room would probably be the start, wouldn't it? I believe that was your first one, correct? That you remastered?
Yeah, that's the first one. But yeah, and I have like two versions, which is it took Android version of it off right now because it was having problems. But there's the Presentation Room Remastered and then Presentation Room Remastered Classic. And the reason why these two are different is because one has creator economy right now and one doesn't. And the reason why it does the classic one doesn't because it's a 2016 remake of the Presentation Room. And two, it's the one I did from Blender before the other one I have alongside with it. So I'm like, it's just try and keep that one I did originally by myself before having help with the other one I have with Creator Economy out in up there. So like people can see like, oh, this is what he did, and then this is what some of his other friends did to help him out to improve it. It's like there's the inside one, which is the 2016 one, and then the other one that's like more open that has more like games and outside stuff, etc. Even like the most current like up to date stuff. You guys want to go see it? If I give the link to Noved over here, basically my one friend Excel that makes stuff for me and gives it to me for free, even though at this point I should pay him because like he does such a good job making like 3D modeling stuff. He remade one of, like the old like trees, even from like the old map that's referenced in my group about White Tower Hall. And honestly, like every time I look at those like trees that he made, even it has like the red crystal to try to represent the group as well. It literally like I can start hearing the partially offline music in my head. I'm like, I'm being tortured, but in a nice way, and I love it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's also probably the thought. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
But
Go
that's
ahead.
probably the thought that's probably the thought that counts with it, because like so much stuff goes into those maps, and like much love and care. Because the thing I probably did different with it, because the red button would be the thing to erase everything, but I replaced it with a player pickup in both of them. So like if people went AFK and they didn't have portal on prompt, turn on, you can literally grab them and just go, yeah, yeet.
Yeah, yeet. Like fucking yeet. Like just fucking yeet them across the map. There's so many stories with the player pickup system. Oh my lord. No, that's what's up. And obviously, with presentation room being, gosh, it was essentially one of the main ones that a lot of content creators used back in that day. When it came to content creation before like the big boom of VRChat worlds. Um, it's kind of cool to see that in a new era per se when it comes to VRChat. And obviously we talked about Rock and Bull a little bit, so kind of moving on to the next one. Because I know you also had made the cardboard box, which I don't know. Do you want to kind of explain cardboard box remaster?
Probably the shortest way possible, because I just thought it'd be a nice world to have, so you can just load in quickly. Which, funny enough, every time when I make these worlds, I set it as my home world, so one I can help get it out in public, and two, I just thought it'd be nice because I know there was a cardboard box out there. I think it's still around, and I think it used to be, but there's so many versions. And it had like an Easter egg. If you hugged the wall at a certain point, you could get up top on the box and just hang out up on there. And I just said, you know what? I guess I'm gonna remake it. Maybe later on during this year, while I'm focusing on other stuff, I'm probably gonna update it so it looks more like a box. It does like right now, but it looks so. I'm just gonna say it crappy, but it's fine. That's the best way I can explain Cardboard Box Remaster.
Fair enough.
It has its ups and downs.
I gotcha. Well, that's what's up. So I guess kind of moving on from then, from cardboard box. I mean, we're gonna start thinking outside the box. But anyway. So obviously with the next one, you had also made Werewolf Remaster as well. Which you had gotten permission to remake the world and update it so that people can, relive the day. So I guess one of the questions I want to ask in that regard, because obviously Werewolf is a lot more complex than, your presentation room and, as well as cardboard box, obviously. But So I guess kind of what got you into wanting to do more udon based world like coding and stuff?
Uh, Probably what got me interested is because I noticed I've done like a lot of hangout worlds, and like I want to do something a little bit different. You know, Werewolf Remastered does have a little bit of coding in it, but it's just to turn off the fog on and off, cosmetic stuff. But like later on, I do again, like with Cardboard Box Remastered, plan on updating the map and giving quality of life stuff. So like people have houses, so like just a lot of stuff like so it's more funner, so people don't know who's like werewolf and who's this or who's that. Makes it very simple. But it's just that's just another reason why I'm trying to go into coding slash udon. And plus later on in life I can probably learn how to make my own game with coding. So just try to have like a little bit of practice, so that's like the reason behind it. But that's mostly what I can say about Werewolf Remastered. And plus, probably, sorry if I almost forget. And one of the podcast episodes I did on my talk show and whatever. And if you guys are curious about that, I will give that to Noved, the playlist. It's called What the Fox, if you guys want to go check it out. And actually, to explain it, because I know there's going to be a question about it. What the
Sure.
Fox is basically a talk show where I talk with old VR chatters from like basically the old days, like what White Tower Hall is about, but different. And we do have like special guests on like season 2. We have like Parzival, episode 7, and Sean VR, and a few other people. Just a lot, really a lot of them. And that season is supposed to have 20 episodes. So if you guys are from the old days and want talk with me, let me know. Sorry, I had to do that.
No, you're good. You're good. I was gonna say, yeah, of course, all links will be down in the description. But yeah, so I was just because I was gonna bring that up eventually. Um, so I guess kind of get into that a little bit because obviously the only other one currently uploaded was the secondary remaster of the presentation room, which is similar and like they've already explained. Um, but I would say kind of to go into that. So what kind of made you want to go into like a talk show type thing with like older like VR people?
um, Probably what caused me to do it is because I just thought it'd be interesting, and plus it's kind of funny where the name originated from. Because there's a talk show out there called What the Puck, and I'm friends with that person, and he's a very good friend of mine. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. And I'm like, what if I go What the Fox and took Puck out and put Fox after What the? I'm like, wait a minute, why does that work? And then did my first season, and after had to upload some episodes without going into it. The first season got around 1K views in total, and I'm like, oh, okay. Since it did good, I'm gonna do season 2. And yeah, I regret promising my community to do 20 episodes, but gotta keep the promise.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. They're
you can tell with the love and hate relationship I have with myself at this point with even my community.
you know what? That's fair.
So
I feel like
it's
when it comes to all content creators, it's always a love-hate relationship with our community. Like the constant bullying of the creator is always doesn't matter what community, doesn't matter what streamer, what content creator, it happens every time. The person that throws the content out there will get bullied. That's just how it is. But um but yeah, well, kind of going into that a little bit when it comes to the content creation side, you also do stream and you do make content as well. So kind of to go into the origins of that, what kind of made you want to start doing content creation?
oh boy, like thinking about it, because I know it's like a mixture of like all me, it's like young, naive me, I'm like still in my 20s. Like probably going into that, I probably just did it to have fun and mess around and have a great time. with everything and test waters. And when kind of looking at some like old videos, even like when I was like around 15 or 14 years old, or like how old I was, because I know which videos where I was 15 years old and whatever else. And just also kind of going through, I can see how far my journey has kind of came through in life, and how much my editing skills have changed. You know, they're still improving. Because I think the first editing software I used after making videos for the first time was Light Shark. And I swear I regret using Light Shark, you know, it was the first time using, you know, editing software. And probably after that I went to how did I say it? HTML Express, which is another video editor. Very good. It was not bad until it became more paid for it instead of free with some, you know, features. And after that, DaVinci Resolve for a bit, and then I just went to Sony Vegas Pro, and I've stuck with Sony Vegas Pro with video editing for a while, as it feels more professional and more to my speed, and I've kind of tested it before. And I would say, with the videos I've made from now to this year, you know, they still need work. It's been a 10 out of 10. You know, it's hard to know when the algorithm will be nice to you. So I'm just like, torture again.
Fair. Yeah, algorithms are hard. There's a really good content creator out there that goes into like the whole algorithms and stuff and has done extensive research. If you're familiar with Super Xavier, does phenomenal research um, when it comes to that type of stuff. Hopefully by now that VOD will be out on the Project Fest Relive series for all the VODs. But I highly recommend if you haven't, whenever that VOD does come out, definitely check that out because his entire panel was talking about how algorithms work and like what are some of the pros of certain platforms, algorithms, and whatnot. Um, dude was it was very informative. Algorithms are hard and it takes a long time to learn, especially when it's a new platform. I mean, heck, we now have Blue Sky being a new platform, and um, I'm not personally using it, but I know there's like Red Note and you know some of the TikTok alternatives now. Um, but yeah, it's algorithms are fun but difficult. It depends on how you look
Yeah,
at it.
and plus, every time, even when you just mentioned TikTok, you know, it's kind of good it's back right now. But I will say this: every time when I look at my TikTok account, because I don't get how I got to it, I don't get how I hit like 1K on there, but not YouTube. I'm like, how in the heck did I manage? Yes, I made a TikTok account as like a joke, but now using it for, you know, other reasons, I'm like, how did I manage in the first place with this? And I'm like, you know, I guess I'm glad I used it for once, and probably utilize it before it gets banned again. Who knows? But I would say TikTok is 10 out of 10 if you want to promote your YouTube or Twitch. Probably better with your YouTube than use YouTube to promote Twitch. That's more better in the way. And then just there's a lot of things I could go over and over with the whole thing. But I'm not a tech whiz half the time. I'm just a normal person trying to live my everyday life and hopefully be able to have a family. To be honest,
Fair
I swear
enough.
that hits hard when saying it like that. Like I think some people would agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say it's definitely a crazy thing. Hello, everyone. Real quick, just want to pause the episode right here. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you're enjoying what you're seeing so far, feel free to smack that subscribe button down below. It means a lot to me that you're going this far into the episode. Of course, if you'd like to support the podcast, you can always tip or do a subscription via the VRChat Creator Economy. Special thanks to Teal, Lieutenant Shadow, Fax Machine, and Spooky Ghost Boo for the supporters as we're recording this. Much love. Thank you guys so much. I do want to announce also we do have a merch store now available, so you can get your own Noved Notes merch IRL. But let's get back into the episode. Woo! To say the least. And yeah, I guess kind of to go into the content creator side a little bit more, because obviously you've been doing it for a while now, whether it's your VTubing or you know your VRChat related stuff. um, so I guess in your personal opinion, since you've been doing it for a while, what do you think is like the most what's the phrasing on this? What is the most, in your opinion, when it comes to your channel and stuff, what is the most like intriguing content that's out there on your channel?
Probably the most intriguing one would be because if I go by it in a way like how like which one did good and which one didn't. There was like my very first like long form one before like on YouTube because you need to do a certain thing to like do thumbnails and stuff, kind of like verification BS. And the video I did was basically called the pros and basically the advantages and disadvantages of VRChat, basically pros and cons. And it's a very good episode, even though it shows like my old name, but it's a very good video. It's like 40 minutes long. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, go ahead. I was agreeing with you that
Yeah.
I usually point. I never really say it, but I usually point whenever I need to throw like a thumb. I'll put a thumbnail, and so that way they can go look for it. that was a me thing. You're
Oh,
good.
yeah. Sorry. I was just like, huh? My tism kicked in on that one. I'm like, yeah. But like it just that video did so well for me. I don't know how to feel about it. And then there's just been like a few other videos I've done well, including shorts. And besides like there's like one of the YouTube shorts I have, and it had like around like I think there's two versions of it. One had like 10K views because I said something out of context. Then the next version was like I need to put water down my mouth so I can feel. And then it's went to a heavy like TF2 voice going moist and delicious because that's what I said it from the original one. And then that one got 11K views. I'm like, and then like as we mentioned earlier, the algorithm like before we started recording just some reason has this weird like sparks and like going boom sometimes. That's what happened with me. And I don't know what it is, like just being random and being yourself just makes things just go forward in a good way. You can tell I get worn out because like used to be in Chatterbox, but like this Chatterbox me gets tired out at a certain point if I'm not having enough energy as it is.
No,
That's
that's
fine.
fair. Well, that's what's up. I was gonna say, because obviously, you're on different platforms when it comes to like YouTube and Twitch. So I guess one of the questions I wanted to ask: do you prefer doing streams, or do you prefer making like video content over on YouTube, or is it kind of just a mixture of both, and there's no like preference?
I'd say personal preference because sometimes I like to stream and then record because it's either or because like it kind of goes into like another thing because I think when mentioning the podcast stuff I do as well, I take sometimes those episodes and after downloading them and doing whatever I want with them, I put them on Spotify. So I do have to go to different platforms and post stuff. I'll say if any of you guys are like a podcast person like Noved or me or anyone else, use Spotify. It will help you out in the long run. It's the best way to do it
Fair,
if you
yeah.
know what you're doing.
Also fair. Most
Yeah.
most podcasts out there, they use Spotify and YouTube as their main host, which makes sense. Meanwhile, me with 9 different platforms and just like reach, like but it's I do agree that Spotify is definitely one of the easiest ones to get your stuff out there. Because once you start hitting your listeners and stuff, um, they'll usually come back. Granted, with mine, it's more visual based, which now with Spotify, you can watch videos. So you're watching this currently on Spotify. Hi, it's good to see you. Um, yeah, because the October 2024 update, they now allowed video podcasts, to actually showcase videos instead of just the audio side. Unlike most platforms. Um, there's been a lot of updates to the creator.spotify thing, because now there's clips now, so you can preview clips, like submitted clips through the creator themselves, which I usually just use my YouTube and TikTok stuff. whatever I throw out on there, I'll just like, okay, here's the clip for Spotify too. It's Spotify is definitely it it can work and sometimes not work. It just kind of depends on the content that's being produced. Um, but overall, I do agree that it is a great platform when it comes to like talk shows and podcasts and stuff. Um, Spotify, you want to like boost my algorithm? That'd be great. No, but but yeah, no, but it's definitely a cool thing. So I guess kind of one of the questions I wanted to ask, because obviously you've been working on all this stuff. Um, what is one dream? I don't want to call it a job, but like, what is one thing that you are wanting to attain, like in the future, whether it's like a future project, or like a dream project, or whatever the case may be? What is something that you in the future or in the near future or far future depending, what is something that you are wanting to obtain when it comes to like whether it's world creation or content creation? What is something that you are wanting to eventually at some point like a bucket, that's the word I was looking for. What is like a bucket list thing you want to do when it comes to your stuff? Words are hard.
Oh, geez, that reminds me of like one meeting I had on one day before this. Oh, okay. Probably the dream thing besides like doing like what I like. I think what I would like is to be like a game tester and make enough money for, because I still live with my parents until I can fend for myself and be able to, help them out, get enough money, help and give it to them and save some for myself and just keep going. And then, jeez, there's like a lot I can say on it, but like that's probably the best way I can say it. That's I do love content creation and all the other stuff, but sometimes there just got to be a point where you just gotta relax. Just just know if you want to edit this part in, sometimes you just gotta learn when growing up. You can still have fun what you like having fun with. Oh, there goes your hand.
Yep.
But
Oh, throw my hand
it's
around.
just
You're
good.
Sorry about
But
that.
no, you're good. You're good. I have the same problem as usual. But probably the best thing to say is it's just you gotta realize things will never be the same when growing up. Even like when being adult right now. Sometimes you can just move on from the things that usually make you happy and do new things that cheer you up in life. You only have one life as a human being, and you don't know how long you'll have it for. And you just gotta live it to the fullest until you're not there anymore. Because I'm sorry if I made that sappy. It's just
It
gotta
happens a
have that
lot.
serious kind of moment. I gotta have
You're
that
good.
serious moment in me because sometimes like even in podcasts, people gotta know like how the content creator feels at the time. Sure, we look happy when we're doing these videos and putting them out, but if you don't get to know the real us when like off camera, you're just like, oh wow, they're a different person, but like they're still fun to hang out with. If you know what I mean. It's just I don't want to be because like growing up, if like imagine if my kids saw me like still having fun, but they saw this other side of me that I didn't want them to see because it could be funny for them, or it would just make them go, "What the heck, Dad?" You know what I
Dad,
mean?
that's cringe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just. Jeez, I just can't imagine the sad music in my head just playing as like a clip in this. Like,
Let me play
I'm
the
not
world's
wrong.
saddest music on the world's smallest violin. Like, like
Well, some like the YouTube shorts where it just goes "Past Lives" or whatever the song is.
yeah.
It's just for some reason when you do something like that and put it in like YouTube short, it just hits someone like hard in the heart every time. And I think that's what I'm trying to get the point across because like you just don't know how many like YouTubers out there, even like me, because like sure we look happy in the inside, but we have to go through so much things. We have to scarf down some like pills or stuff to keep us happy, which is not fun. And again, sorry if that sounds like bringing it down, but it's just again honestly brings out the most best quality. And if someone like a fan of the channel came by and wanted to hang out with me, I would just say just treat me like a normal person. I don't care if I'm big or small. Just come and hang out and just have a good time. That's all I really
No,
care
for
about.
sure. No, and that's totally fair in that regard. Because I mean, at the end of the day, when it comes to literally anybody I've had on the podcast, no matter the size or community size or whatever the case is, we're all just a bunch. And I'll say this till the day that this podcast is over. We're all just a bunch of nerds that like to have fun. Long story short, um, we like to enjoy creation and infinite possibility, within reason. I'm gonna state this within reason, but um, it at the end of the day, we are all just people trying to live our best lives and do what most people can't in the real world. Um, when it comes to like game development or graphic design or putting on giant conventions that cost in IRL like thousands upon thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars even. At the end of the day, or DJing, radio talk host, the list goes on and on and on. You all get the point at this point. But it's we do what we love to do because we can, and we don't have to fork over thousands, tens of thousands of dollars doing so. Because I mean, a lot of people on this platform use VRChat for that reason. I mean, just take a look at like the filmmakers, for example. Most films cost thousands, hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars to produce. Meanwhile, they're doing it for probably not even a tenth of or a 20th of that. You know, unless if it's like a volunteer based studio and they do it essentially completely for free, besides like the assets they bought, like VRC lens or camera path or any dolly systems, whatever the case may be. Like at most studios pay like a one time thing for whatever assets they use, and then they're good for life. Not everybody could do that when it comes to like actual film studio quality equipment. So it's definitely a crazy thing at the end of the day because like you were saying, um, it's just yeah, we're just people. To treat us as such, don't put us on a pedestal. And that includes myself. Like there's been times, I shit you not, there's been times, because obviously with where I work and whatnot with PJKT and everything, I've went to random like public Black Cat instances and they'll be like, "Are you guys that runs a podcast?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like it's weird, right? Like it's a weird feeling. Because I'm by no means a quote unquote big creator, but at least people are actively watching and learning more about the creators and communities within the platform. That's what sparks me, if anything. I know I tangented on that for a second, but it's just
No, you're good. I let
it
people
holds on it.
talk.
Yeah, well, it holds true to that fact. Like we're all just people at the end of the day, and I don't know. It like you were saying, it's kind of more important to treat others when it comes to creators as just normal human beings. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. Um, yeah. It's, but kind of kind of going back into the topic a little bit, because obviously, um, we could talk a little bit more about White Tower Hall. So obviously, with your community, it is mainly for the people who have been from 2018 and earlier. For the most part. So I guess kind of one of the things I wanted to ask in that regard, do you think it's ever going to get to a point to where that year might get extended to like let's say 2019 or like up to 2020? Because obviously 2020 was the big boom with COVID and everything, and um, I guess that's because it was, at least in my opinion, right? Like it kind of still falls 2019 at least still falls in that era. 2020 I can understand because it was the big boom of VRChat, etc. But I don't know. It was just a genuine question I was always curious about.
Oh, okay. There's two sides, so like it's yes and no, but sorry, air bubble. The
You're
best
good.
way to say this is we plan to keep it at the certain thing we have it at, even though there are some 2019 people in there, but it's, some friends so they can hang out with me, so if they want to come by. But then we do have another version of the group that will be worked on later on, and some, like one person, like Wolf Heaps, is in this group that I made. And this version of White Tower Hall is called White Tower Hall Preservation Academy. And you can think about how the name sounds. It's going to have its own world and whatever, or it has the group set up to a point. And then it's basically going to be talking about the history of VRChat. And in that version of the group will be open to people from, the upper era, while we have the current one we have that I'm representing for like the old era. So we can basically have two things at the same time and still have our fun. And basically kind of keeps the peace to a point, so it kind of brings that broader knowledge of the old days. That's the best way I can answer that answer. Because I didn't want to be like rude and just say how it is. I'm like, you know what? I do have that other one right there I can talk about. Because it is a plan later down the road to help, grow the community even more. And I'll say this for people in the video: when you become a leader of a group, even like one like mine, make sure you are mentally prepared. Because holy lord, I did not expect to get to where I'm at right now. And I'm like only in my 20s. I'll be 22 this year, so I'm like, I'm not ready. But I gotta deal with it because I
They
asked
grow up
for
so
this.
fast.
Yeah.
But I mean that's kind of, as long as you're producing, and this is something in my personal, this is 100% my personal opinion when it comes to this topic. As long as you are producing content that people can enjoy, it's not hard to grow a community. Obviously this goes mainly within VRChat, because obviously growing a YouTube channel, or Spotify, or Twitch, it's going to be a lot harder to grow because you're kind of relying on the algorithm and certain tactics to go into the algorithm. But with VRChat, right, you get to see these people face to face and interact with them. You get to show them the experience firsthand, and kind of get them to enjoy whatever the experience is, whether it's a world or an event, or even if you make content inside of the platform, and you get people involved with said content. you know I feel like growing a VRC group, at least in my opinion, is a lot easier to do than like a regular content creation platform, at least in my opinion. um like obviously, like as this video is going up, I have relatively close to 300 subscribers on YouTube, but within VRChat, I'm starting to close in on 600 VRC group members, practically double of what my YouTube is. And there's a lot more marketing chances in VRChat than there is most platforms. Because you could tweet about it or make a post on Blue Sky or Reddit, heaven forbid. But with VRChat, there's more outreach chances, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And obviously New Year's being one of the biggest events of VRChat, so having something featured there, granted, you have to advertise it properly. Um, but you get the chance to see what is actually in VRChat in general. And not to mention, that's the time of year when there's always a big surgence of VRChat players online. Because you have your newer quest players, or newer VR players in general. Not to mention now with mobile with Android and iOS, there's even more potential possibilities for people to see your stuff than like in the original back in the day of 2015 to 2018. Um, I don't know. I guess since you've been around, around that era, what is something from? This is a weird way of phrasing this question, but I'm genuinely curious. So, if there was something you could take from this point of time when it comes to VRChat and implement it back in the old day, like of the OG days of VRChat, what would be one feature that you would take back?
Oh, wait, one future.
So let me rephrase. So
Uh,
if you were able to go
Go
back
ahead.
in time and take one feature from VRChat now and implement it back into the old days of VRChat, what would it be and why? Words are hard.
No, you're good. It's just my brain had to have it simplified so I could at least understand it. Like I got
Yeah.
it the first time, just need to double check. But probably what would probably I would like want back in the old days. But I would not say VRChat Plus because I know how some of us old users are because I'm using it. I think the only feature I would bring to that era would be VRChat groups. But everyone has a different opinion. But I feel like that would be more better, so people at least could go. Oh, we can go here without having to join another Discord server. Blah blah blah. Yada yada yada. Whatever. And there's like a lot of things to go into that. You don't talk about groups entirely, but that's the one feature I'd probably bring back to the old days, including with like Udon coding and a lot of other stuff. But that's mostly what I can say about that. I can't really go much into it, but that's mostly all I can say.
Sure. No, that's fair. But anyways, kind of to because I do want to. We are running a little bit out of time, actually, surprisingly enough. Um, but uh, so I do want to ask when it comes to like the future, because obviously with White Tower Hall, you guys are doing some events, and etc. When it comes to like gaming hangouts and overall just fun times. So what is there to be expected when it comes to the future of White Tower Hall?
Probably what comes to the future of White Tower Hall, since I'm the leader of it. There is gonna be a lot of changes where we're gonna be getting new staff and just restructuring a lot. Because there's been people that have been, doing their job and helping out, and we do want to reach out to a broader audience. Because there are like certain communities where we're partnered with, or we're part of like a VRU, like VR Underground. Because when we go in there, we have like some like old users come by as well and ask about the group, which is really fun. And there's some other groups like I think because I know I have all of them listed. Let's see. Oh, okay. There's again VRU, and then there's just a lot to keep track of. And then there's gonna be the one with Ministry Promotions or whatever, however you say their group. Because I talked with them around New Year's, and after getting some things going and figured out, they're gonna be helping us out. So it's just there's a lot of things for the future of this group. And back even without going into it, there is like the other group that was just like my group above my head, and just knowing that I took up the mantle after what happened, it's just you can tell even with my model, I have changed a lot from it. I wouldn't say scarred, but the right word would be scarred, but like it shows how much I've endured to the point. It's like I used to be my V word model, and kind of being this model just shows I'm more have like at least I've grown up and adulted to a point. And every time when I try to at least keep my head up, I always have the close friends in the future of White Tower Hall to keep me happy to a point, so I can at least have the future going. And to be honest, there might be a time and place where I might have to retire the group or give it to someone else so they can continue it without me. Because like that thing from earlier, how I mentioned family. When I get to a certain point and I find a girl that loves me and whatever, I'm gonna just retire and move on. Because I think I've endured enough stuff online and even IRL to know, even when I get to that point where I know I want it and want to be happy, I'm just gonna do what I need to do.
Fair enough. No, and obviously there's been countless people who are in that same set. Some of which we've had on the podcast who no longer do on VRChat stuff, but they do music related things or, live life essentially. Um, but yeah, it's understandable. Um, well, I guess technically we are a little bit teetering on the end of the episode, but before we do end everything off, of course, I do want to give you a chance to essentially tell the people where they can find you, and tell them where they can find you.
You guys can find me on YouTube, like right here, and then my link tree will be right here below the YouTube link. And if you guys want to check some videos, I'm gonna be posting out like a Super Mario Party Jamboree video and a few other things. Go and subscribe and continue the grind to 1,000 subscribers and more, and subscribe to Noved since let's help him get to his goal as well over here.
Yeah, of
Always got
course.
shows support to the other homies.
Absolutely. And of course, all the links will be down in the description as well. So make sure to go check out all those links. But yeah, no, Ichabod, thank you for coming on and talking to me and kind of showcasing what you've been doing. It's a good time.
Yeah, sorry from the down topics for you guys, but I did have a good time with everyone here.
Yeah, of
So thanks
course.
for having me. And if I ever did came back, I wouldn't mind. It's just there's so much going on. I'm glad I was able to come tonight and have a good time.
Hmm.
Kind of got my mind off some stuff as I was dealing with so much like Unity stuff. I'm like, let's deal with this, and then I'm just gonna listen to music or just pass out in VR. Whatever works for me. I don't care.
Fair. But yeah, of course, if you enjoyed what me and Ichabod talked about, feel free to click that like button down below. Comment down below, what is your favorite OG map of VRChat? Something from like 2015 and on. What was your favorite OG map? Comment that down below. But yeah, of course, if you're also coming back to check out some of the other episodes, why not hit that subscribe button? You're already coming back anyway. Um, but of course, with that, I do want to thank you all one last time. Uh, Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 55. Yes, 55 of the podcast. I always forget which number it is. But of course, make sure to go check out all the links. Feel free to support however you wish. Yeah, fucking, I plugged up this outro entirely. But with that, I want to thank you all one last time for watching, listening, depending on what platform you're on. And I will see you in the next episode. Take care and peace. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Noved.